Help us, Danny, to understand the mechanics of using, a DST in place of a regular 1031. A lot of people may have had experience with selling a property, going through an accommodator, and then using that money, transferring it into a new property. But how would a DST fit into that flow?
Sure. It fits right in there. So the 1031 process, you sell a property, and then from the sale, the proceeds go to a qualified intermediary. And when the funds go to that qualified intermediary, you have 45 days to identify your next property.
The clock is ticking.
Clock is ticking. That's right. When funds are with the qualified intermediary, you can use a 3-property rule, a 200% rule, or a 95% rule. Very rarely have I seen a 95% rule used in practice. More often you use the 3-property rule or the 200% rule. And with a DST, depending if it's a single property or multiple properties, you're either going to utilize the 3-property identification rule or the 200% rule. It's a little bit more complicated, but it's not a difficult process if you are identifying a DST with several properties in it.
So one of the things that we always recommend is, because of that time frame that you have as the seller, you've got 45 days to identify something. I had this poor client of mine. He was nearing the end of the 45 days here in Los Angeles. He couldn't find anything locally that he liked. This poor guy was flying all across the country just to find a replacement that met his criteria.
Yeah.
When you have the money with an accommodator, I always recommend, you don't have to use them, but identify a DST as a replacement with your accommodator, because if you don't find a replacement, or if something goes wrong with that escrow, your offer isn't accepted or whatever, you have a backup and you're not necessarily defaulting to having to pay the tax.
Absolutely. That's a great point. What we're seeing today is that a lot of investors are seeking out a DST first and foremost because of the passive nature of the ownership, the passive income stream. But anytime someone is still looking for owning a property on their own, whether it's a duplex, a single family residence, whatever it is, I would recommend using a DST as a backup for any 1031 exchanger, because once you're past that 45-day period, there are no redos. There are no exceptions ever made. It's a very finite.
Pay the tax.
Pay the taxes, right. And so it is very important to have a backup in case something happens, because things happen.